Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brian Everett, and I am here to show you a new game. This game will be released on April 1st, 2016, the same weekend as WrestleMania. This game is a wrestling game. This is a card game. This is a micro game, where two opponents will clash in a winner-takes-all main event. I introduce to you, published by Roar Art Games, 2 Count. So in 2 Count, each player is going to have a deck that represents a wrestler, and they're also going to have a deck of crowd reaction cards. And these are the points that you'll be wagering each round and trying to win with. So let me just go ahead and explain the wrestler's deck first. So each deck is going to come with some basic moves, and those are going to have some pretty low numbers on them. And they're going to have like headlocks, knee to the gut, abdominal stretch, German suplex. The name of the move doesn't matter, just gives the game some more flavor, especially if you're a big wrestling fan. Then you will also have some cards that have a gold border on them. These have a different back. These are your high spot cards as opposed to the regular ones. Now these are the cards that have some higher numbers on them. So for the American hero, we have a super kick, a 5-star frog splash, and a sharpshooter. You also will have a cheat card. Now, you can beat one of your opponent's high spots with a cheat card. But if your opponent plays any other card and you play a cheat card, well, the cheat doesn't successfully work. So you will take your entire deck and you will give it a really, really good shuffle. So what I like to do is I like to shuffle, a pretty good amount above the table so that everybody can see that I am indeed shuffling these cards as good as I can. But then what I'm going to do, since there are these different backs on there, these are not mixed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shuffle below the table just so I can't see, and that way I don't have any bias as to what cards are on top, so that way I don't have a bias if there's a high spot card or not. So I shuffle that onto the table, out of my sight so I cannot see, and I go ahead and say 1, 2, 3, and I'm done shuffling. So, looks like I got a high spot card on there, but that is just how the deck landed. Now my opponent will do the same thing with their deck. They're going to go ahead and give it that good shuffle. And I'm going to encourage them to go ahead and shuffle under the table so that way they don't have any bias as to whether there's a high spot card on top of the deck or not. And they are done shuffling and they did not get a high spot card. And then you have your crowd reaction cards. Now I always put them in order just so I make sure that we both have the same and correct amount. But I like to give this a little bit of a shuffle, just so that when I'm choosing a card to use as my bid, that my opponent doesn't know which card I'm actually using. Because say I had, 0 through 8 here, and I'm pulling this card, my opponent might assume that, oh, that's his 8 card. So that's why I'm just giving it a little bit of a shuffle just to mix up the order of those cards. Each player is going to start off with a 2-card hand. And you're going to look at the cards that you have. So I have my number 14, which is my sharpshooter, and my number 3, which is my abdominal stretch. Now I'm going to look at these, and then I'm going to look at the backs of my opponent's cards and see what they have in their hand. So I'm going to just put that aside, and my opponent is just going to draw 2 regular 2-count cards. Now I don't know if either one of these are the cheat card, so he could try to play that because he can see the back of mine, and he can see that one of them is that high spot card. So you gotta see when you want to use that high spot or not. So I don't know what my opponent has. Now, I'm going to go through my crowd reaction deck and figure out how many points I want to bet on this round. Well, I have a good 14. I have a little bitty 3. So, I think I might try to fake him out, and I'm going to use my 3 instead. And hopefully he wastes a cheat early on in this match. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, I'm going to say 6. So I'm going to put that face down onto the table. And my opponent is going to do the same thing. And they're going to say, oh, they're going to guess. They're going to bid that amount. So then, once both those are on the table, you go ahead and you flip those over. Oh no, he used the old lady. And the old lady says a 0, so he's not risking any points. And I am risking 6 points. So, he must not be confident about that. So, you're going to take your cards in your hand, and your opponent's going to do the same thing. 1 in your left, 1 in your right, and you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and you slam one of your cards down onto the table, and that is the move that you are doing. So, say I used my 14 here because I saw that he played a 0, and that influenced what I was going to do. And my opponent slams this card on the table, and oh, he only used a number 1 was a big punch, but unfortunately I caught him with a sharpshooter. So yay, I win that round. So because I won that round, you go ahead and discard the cards that were used, and all the point cards go to the winner. You will play 8 rounds of this. So the next round, you're going to draw a card from your deck. Add that to your hand now. So I have now my 3 that I have from the previous round. And now I have a 1. I'm going to look at what my opponent has, pick a new crowd reaction card, and we're going to continue. You go 8 rounds, total up your points, and see who the winner is.
This program is part of the Pathological Nerdcasters Network. Find more at pncn.rocks, where all the geeks come to play.
So that is 2 count. Now, if anybody knows me, they know I'm a huge wrestling fan. I've been a fan for many, many years, all the way back to middle school. So I have been a WWE fanboy for that long. I have branched out into some other organizations, but I have pretty much stuck with the WWE my entire wrestling fandom. So I really want to thank Royce Banaluz, Royce Banaluz, Banulos. Royce, thanks for sending me this game. I really appreciate letting me try this out. So this is perfect for any wrestling fan and for a micro game fan. Even if, all you know is like old school wrestling back in the days of Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. Or if you're up to the new stuff, hey, this is great for everybody. And if you're not into wrestling, everybody can have that cheesy moment and, imagine that I'm a wrestler in the ring or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and give my rating for this game. To explain the Cloak and Meeple rating system, I rate in 3 categories: gameplay, art and components, and replay. Gameplay gets 50% of the score. Art and components and replay both respectively get 25%. We total those together, average them up, and that'll give us an overall score. And scoring is from 0 to 10. So we're going to start with gameplay. This game is so simple to learn. You have 2 decks. You have your wrestler and you have your crowd reaction deck. You're going to pull 2 cards from your wrestling deck. You're going to look at them, look at the backs of your opponent's cards, and figure out how many points you want to risk in that round. 8 rounds, determine a winner. Super simple, super easy to play. And the game is so compact, you can play anywhere. You just have 2 decks, you just need a little bit of space. Really, really easy to set up and get going within a few minutes. So for gameplay, I'm going to give this a 9. Next up is art and components. Now, I am a huge fan of Royce's artwork. If you've ever received anything in the mail from him, chances are there might be a little hidden drawing somewhere. I know whenever he sent me a preview game, I previously previewed Pigskins for him, and there was some cool artwork drawn all over the box. And then when I got the final copy of Pigskins, there was a really awesome drawing that was inside of that I believe I shared to my Cloak and Meeple page, so you can go back and find that. But I'm a huge fan of his artwork, and he does all the artwork for his games. And being a wrestling fan, and I know Royce is a wrestling fan too, obviously, so he really is able to capture these awesome wrestlers on this card and capture the crowd. I even like the little old lady flipping everybody off. But this is fantastic. Now for the components, this is going to be published through GameCrafter. I don't have much of a problem with GameCrafter quality stuff. The cards are a decent card stock. They have a good thickness to them. They have a good printing on them. They're usually pretty even. I've never had much of an issue with uneven cards from GameCrafter. So quality is pretty good for the cards, and it's going to be for this game. So for art and components, I'm going to give it another 9. Now we're going to go in the replay. It kind of goes down a little bit, but that's only because this is just the base game that I'm talking about. The base game comes with 2 wrestlers, and they're pretty even with everything. All the numbers match up with everything. So the high spot cards, there's I believe a 10, a 12, and a 14 card. And all the low cards are just 1 through 5. So you have a pretty even match with the wrestlers. It all just depends on the shuffle and the randomness of the deck. So with just those 2 wrestlers, it can maybe get a little boring, maybe kind of fast. But if you are a wrestling fan, you can cheese it up and go ahead and throw in your own color commentary and all that kind of stuff, and that really does make it a lot more fun. I know that wrestler packs or expansions or whatever they're going to be called are coming soon to the product, and that will really extend the replayability of this game. So right now, with just the base game, I'm going to give that a 6. When more wrestlers come out, that's definitely going to raise that up, and I will reevaluate this, and I will give it a higher score right now for that. But with just those scores, we average them together, and we're going to get an overall score of 8.25. So 8.25 is what 2 count is getting. Now, if this looks like a game that you'd be interested in, as I said in the intro, doing my horrible impersonation of a popular wrestling figure, if you know who that is, put it down in the comments. But anyways, this is going to go on GameCrafter WrestleMania week. So April 1st it is going on, and then for 1 week this game is going to be $5.99. After that week, the price is going to go up to $8.99. So either way, it's a really good deal for this really awesome, small, compact game. But get it in that first week for $5.99. As you may already know, I am part of the Pathological Nerdcasters Network. So this video, I'm going to have a link down below in the flavor text for the Docking Bay 94 podcast. They talk to other professionals or non-professionals in the business, and they have a very entertaining podcast. They talk about Kickstarters, board games, all kinds of stuff. So definitely check out their podcast. Link will be down below for that. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that. My subscribe button is right down there. My support link is right over there. You can click on Patreon. And thank you for watching. Royce took out my tag team partner last week. Now while Cloak is healing himself up, you gotta deal with me, Meeple. I am coming for you. I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna make you pay for what you did to my tag team partner. He is my heart. You're going down. Royce, I'm calling you out. No holds barred in that ring tonight.
Meeple, let me tell you right now, you don't scare me. Nobody that's named after a little piece of wood is gonna scare the likes of me. And I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you right now, what I did to Cloak is only the beginning for you. You better watch your back. Me and my partner, Start Space, we're gonna be all over you like a bag of chips. And I'll tell you something else. You like your games, don't you? Yeah, you like your games. Ooh, well, I got a game for you. And the number one mechanism in it is player elimination. And that player is you, Meeple. The best you're gonna get out of me is a 2 count. And that's on your best days. Me and Start Space, we've only just begun. We've just passed go. And we're not taking any chance. No! But you're taking a chop right to your community chest. So if it's a match you want, brother, you better bring it.